been studying voraciously personal development for a lot of years. And it's made me an observer of people. I like to watch people. I love people. Love humanity. And I like to observe cultures and customs and traditions. I like to watch people and learn from them and try to make my life better and try to share and teach and mentor others and how they can improve their lives. And I noticed one time that I was out for a run early in the morning and I came by this particular fast food restaurant that's known to have deadly food. And it was packed early in the morning. There was cars all through the drive-thru, tons of people inside. And I literally remember just being shocked. Seriously? People still eat there? What? You gotta be kidding me. And I just had this aha. I'm like, they wouldn't do that if they knew better. And that's what I want to talk about today. You wouldn't do what you're doing. You wouldn't act like you're acting. You wouldn't think what you're thinking, say what you say, believe what you believe if you knew better. Right? And that's part of the problem. If we were more educated, they wouldn't do that. Now, it's not schooling. That's part of the problem. We think we're educated if we've been schooled. But actually, real education begins once you are done with your schooling and you can get a phenomenal education. But you wouldn't do that. Think about that. You take a great book, right? Maybe you've read it. I hope you have. I hope you read a great book that has really altered the way you see things, the way you view the world, the way you think, what you believe. You have one of those books that, like Kafka says, is like an ice axe that breaks up the frozen sea inside you. It's like a fist pounding on your skull, right? You've read one of those great books, just boom. Now, what if you'd read 100 of those books or 1,000, right? It totally changes you. You and I would not be doing the mediocre things we do if we knew better. And my point is today, we need to know better. What would change if you knew more, right? If you took a great book on health and fitness and devoured it, just became passionate about studying that subject, how would it change your life? I guarantee it would. Now, for some of you, you might need to sit down for what I'm about to say. Maybe that's part of the problem. But here it is. You and I are ignorant. And it's our ignorance that keeps us down and keeps us mediocre. We've got to fight against ignorance. You see, ignorance is like apathy. It's the default. It's what happens when you don't fight against it. Right? Ignorance just happens. It just is. Unless we're fighting against it, we're devouring, we're learning, we're thinking, we're meditating, we're applying, we're really struggling here to try to gain knowledge, then ignorance just happens. And we don't even know it. I mean, so many of us are just walking around, la-di-da. We don't even know how ignorant we are. In fact, the more I study, the more I learn, the more ignorant I realize that I am. We have got to fight against ignorance, and it will change what we do. It will change what we believe. It will change what we think. It'll change what we see. It'll change what we say to others. It'll change our relationships. It'll change every aspect of our lives as we fight against ignorance. So, I said it, and I believe it. You and I are far too ignorant. And, ouch, that kind of hurts. But we've got to read so much more. The average American reads less than one book a year. The average American also reads, one study said that they don't read a good quality book after their last graduation. What a tragedy. What an absolute tragedy. We don't read. We don't think that good, deep, hard thinking, the kind of thinking that just makes you struggle, it makes you uncomfortable, and demands change. We've got to fight off that ignorance with great books and great thinking and change and get a discomfort. I promise you wouldn't be doing what you're doing if you'd overcome your ignorance. And that makes us hurt. It's kind of uncomfortable. And it makes you start thinking, well, what am I doing or thinking or believing? What belief do I have that's because of my own ignorance? And if I really dug into a subject, I would change. I would change what I eat, change how I exercise, change how I interact with other people. See, those things would totally alter it. And the only reason we're doing it now is because we're ignorant. Ooh, there it is again. Ow. Kind of hurts, right? But we've got to overcome our ignorance. We've got to fight off that ignorance just like we would fight off apathy, indifference, like we'd fight off the atrophy like I talked about. My muscles aren't going to grow on their own, nor is education and wisdom going to come without searching out the best books and seeking words of wisdom from them. A lot of people read, but they don't get the greatness out of the great books. They don't get the wisdom because they don't know how to read. They don't know how to find it and apply it. I mean, that's why I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm digging. I'm fighting off my own ignorance. I get up and I study and I dig and I devour and I find the principles and I memorize them. I commit them to memory and I try to apply them and I try to put in practice the principles I'm learning. We've got to go after it with passion, with enthusiasm. And some of you are saying, well, yeah, but that subject just doesn't interest me. Well, it would if you weren't ignorant about it. And then, oh, there it is again. Ow, that hurts. How can you say that about me? You don't know me. I can say confidently that we can all do better. And that we're all ignorant in some things. And probably a lot of things. We can be better. We can be more educated. We can be wiser. We're all ignorant in some things and a lot of things, and we need to go after it. So you will be interested. Search it out anyways. And there's discipline. Some things maybe it doesn't interest you, but there's things that we all need to know. Right? And in those things, we've got to go after it. Hard. Dig in deep. Not superficially, but really dig in. Pay a price. See, there's a high price attached to excellence and to education. And mediocrity is easy. That's why it's the average. It's the norm. That's why it's common. Because it's easy. We've got to pay a price. We've got to dig in. Now I'm going to give you a challenge. I want you to go after these ideas that expand your mind, that make you different. Like someone said, a mind once expanded by a great idea can never return to its former dimensions. I want to change the whole way you see the world. I want you to dig into something so deep and so profound that it alters the way you live. Right? That's the kind of stuff I want you to read. That's the level I want you to go to. I want you to go after this excellence and really achieve something. And in the areas that are most important. So here's my challenge. And you may not view these as important right now, but I promise you would if you'd educate yourself in them. I want you to pick one of these subjects. I want you to study all of them, but for now, here's my challenge to you. Pick one of these subjects. They're all important. We need to be well-read in all of them. Pick one of them, dig deep, and see how it alters the way you think and the way you act, the way you live. Health. Fitness. Well, I'm not that interested. I'm really not the kind of workout. Man, you would be. Dig in. Those are critical. Leadership. Well, I'm not kind of... Don't accept these labels. Don't accept excuses. Well, I'm not this, I'm not that. That really doesn't interest me. It better interest you, and it will once you understand it. That's my point. Leadership. Critical. Marriage. Study marriage. Study great marriages, great relationships. Parenting. Study the Bible, your relationship with God. Well, I'm just not a spiritual person. Well, study hard, dig deep, and you will be because you realize you ought to be. And you'll want to be. And it'll change you. It'll change the way what you believe and how you feel. And how you see others, how you see the world. It's going to alter it. I promise you wouldn't do the things you're doing if you knew better. And you'll know better by digging in. So that's my challenge to you. Pick one of those topics. Dig deep. Pay the price. It'll change you. And you'll be a new and improved you. Right? You'll have new friends. You won't want to hang around the same people. It'll change your relationships. It'll change every aspect of your life. What you're doing in your life, how you're developing your talents, what meaningful things you're doing. How you want to spend your time. You're going to stop wasting time. right? And energy and effort and emotion and your whole endophagia, right? Because of this awesome bibliotherapy is what I call it. This therapy that comes from books, from reading great ideas that expand you. So I challenge you, dig into one of these and see how it makes you a new and better person. I promise it will. I promise it will. Let's fight off our ignorance and seek excellence through a great education. Remember, go to determinedlives.com, sign up, get the free products, and get these updates and these reminders, this bibliotherapy. I'm going to share these great ideas, these great principles that I hope will get into your mind and say, wait a minute, what am I doing? Why have I been doing that all these years? Right? These wake-up calls, a slap in the face saying, whoa, you're right. I wouldn't have been doing that all this time if I'd known better. So sign up. Let's get going. Let's fight off atrophy together and reach upward.